welcome to our Thunder Bay sawmill and pellet plant facility. I'm Terry Willett, the General Manager of the Domtar Ontario Sawmills and Pellet Plant Operations. It's my distinguished pleasure to have you all here today for this announcement. Before we get started, I'd like to share a few housekeeping items. So everybody's wearing their PPE, which I appreciate. We have a secured area. I ask that we respect that and respect the boundaries on our way in and our way out of the event. If you have any questions, please find a Domtar representative and we will assist. I'd also like to start by providing a land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the land on which we operate and work are the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe Nation, traditional territory of Fort William First Nation, and signatory to the Robinson Spirit Treaty of 1850. Now I'd like to invite the Honourable Mike Harris, Minister of Natural Resources, to the podium. Thanks.
Well, good morning, everyone. I think we can still say good morning. Let me just get these notes open for a second here. So thanks, Terry. It's really good to be here this morning with everyone at Domtar. The hardworking people here at this mill in Thunder Bay and across Domtar's network of sawmills in northwestern Ontario generate an economic impact of more than $177 million each and every year. And this really speaks to the economic strength of our province's forestry sector, a sector that generates $21.6 billion in annual revenue here in the province of Ontario. Over 128,000 workers call this industry home day in and day out. These are good paying jobs, many of which are in Indigenous communities, rural communities, and other communities across Northern Ontario and even Southern Ontario. And on National Forest Weeks, we recognize the importance of these workers and this sector, one with a long history here in Ontario. But we must also acknowledge that there are some challenges facing us today. Increased softwood lumber duties and the threat of tariffs are putting immense pressure on the industry. And Ontario has and will continue to step up and support the forestry industry here in the province. Since 2018, our government has taken strong action to strengthen the forestry sector to help businesses expand into new markets and advance innovation. We have made record investments through programs such as the Forest Sector Innovation and Investment Program and the Forest Biomass Program. But we know that more is needed. And that's why I'm here today, alongside my friend, Associate Minister Holland, to announce that our government will be investing $30 million to protect the businesses, workers, and communities that depend on the forest sector. Today's investments will strengthen Ontario's forest sector and increase the sector's competitiveness in the face of trade uncertainty and changing markets. It's part of our plan to protect Ontario, which will include a strong, adaptive, and resilient forestry sector here in the province. My colleague and champion of the forest industry, Associate Minister Holland, will provide more details on this investment. But before I turn the podium over to him, I want to be clear that our government will continue to be there for forestry workers. But as we navigate the uncertainties before us, we are calling on the federal government to come to the table and support this vital sector here in Ontario. We need to work collaboratively to strengthen this vital sector in the face of U.S. trade policy uncertainties. And with that, I would like to welcome Associate Minister of Forestry and Forest Products, Kevin Holland, to the podium to share some more good news about this announcement. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Minister Harris. And I want to start off by thanking Tom, Peter, and Terry, and the entire team here at Domtar for hosting us today. I also want to thank all of the community and industry partners gathered here today and joining us for this announcement. You know, over the summer, I've spent time across the province meeting with stakeholders of every size, from major operators to small family-run businesses. Those conversations gave us a direct insight into the challenges our industry faces and are helping us shape the solutions that respond to the realities on the ground. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by Minister Harris to announce the latest action to protect Ontario's forest sector businesses, workers, and communities from the threat of U.S. tariffs. We are investing $30 million to provide additional funding for two key programs for the forestry sector, as part of our government's plan to protect Ontario. These investments will help strengthen our forestry sector, create jobs, and increase competitiveness in the face of U.S. trade threats. This investment includes an additional $20 million for the Provincial Forest Access Funding Program. The Forest Access Road Network is over 19,500 kilometers long, reaching many corners of our province. In addition to being a safe and reliable road network for hauling wood, they are widely used by residents, tourism operators, utility and railway companies, and for emergency services. In many northern communities, these roads provide a second means of egress when an evacuation is required. This additional funding will help ensure this essential road network is safe and reliable for all users. Our investment also includes $10 million for the Ontario Sawmill Chip Support Program. As Ontario's forest sector businesses produce the lumber needed to build our growing province, they generate byproducts such as bark, shavings, and sawdust. Minister Harris mentioned our government's actions to develop the untapped potential of these byproducts. The Sawmill Chip Support Program advances these measures, helping sawmills find innovative new markets for their wood chips, such as energy production or alternatives to single-use plastics, while also strengthening business integration across forest sector operations. Our government's additional funding will protect sawmill workers, safeguard jobs, and support regional economies while helping the sector adapt, compete, and grow in a changing global market. This additional funding for the Provincial Forest Access Roads Funding Program and the Sawmill Chip Support Program will help mitigate the effect of the harmful U.S. duties and tariffs to ensure essential businesses continue to operate. Since 2018, Ontario has made record investments in the forestry sector, including over $72 million through the Forest Sector Investment and Innovation Program and nearly $50 million through the Forest Biomass Program, targeted investments that are making our industry more competitive and resilient. In this time of uncertainty, we are once again stepping up with the significant funding to strengthen this vital sector. But we cannot do it alone. In this time of change, we are considering an equally broad range of actions to drive sector-wide growth and strengthen forestry-dependent communities. We will build on this targeted support in the months ahead with further actions to equip the forest sector to adapt, compete, and grow in a changing economy. We will continue to reinforce Made in Ontario as a globally recognized brand and a competitive choice in markets worldwide. Our government is doing its part, but we know lasting results require partnerships at every level of government. We have already called on the Government of Canada to bring resources to bear in support of Ontario's forest sector. We welcomed the announcement of $1 billion in support for Canadian forestry last month. Now we are renewing our call for the federal government to act swiftly and translate that announcement into real action. This is a challenging time for Ontario's forestry sector as we face down tariffs and long-term sector challenges. I know things are especially challenging and difficult in Kapuskasing, where our government has provided repeated and significant support to keep the local mill open and workers on the job. That is why it is more important now than ever for the federal government to step up and start matching the significant support Ontario has provided. Together, we must explore every opportunity to deliver on shared commitments to Canadian forestry and Canadian workers. Together, we must protect our forest sector. Thank you.
So good morning, everyone. I first want to extend my sincere gratitude to Minister Harris, Associate Minister Holland, for today's incredible announcement. It really is a game changer for Ontario. Mayor Benzina, nice to see you. Fort William First Nation and the entire Domtar team. In particular, I want to recognize Domtar's board representative at the OFIA, Mike Martel, Peter Kibsey, Terry Willett, Tom Ratz, and Sean. I want to thank all of you for the leadership and dedication you've brought to our organization over the years. I also want to recognize all Domtar employees for the outstanding successes at this and other sites across northwestern Ontario, which stands as a critical asset for the province and the entire forest industry here in Ontario. The consistent breaking of production records the significant investment into innovation, AI, machine learning, robotics, pellet production. It really is incredible to witness over the last 10 years I've been with the OFIA. And of course, the amazing track record and commitment to health and safety. I was talking to Terry, I believe it's at 2.4 million hours without a recordable incident, which is just incredible and serves as a testament and example for the rest of us in the industry. My name is Ian Dunn. I am the President and CEO of the Ontario Forest Industries Association, and we represent over 50 member companies involved in the manufacturing of forest products and the management of Ontario's crown forests. Our sector supports, as we heard, 128,000 direct and indirect jobs across the province, contributing an amazing $5.4 billion to the provincial GDP every year. Premier Ford has a clear mandate to shield Ontario's workers and industry against the destructive impact of trade action from the Trump administration. We are witnessing multiple sectors across the Canadian economy suffering due to Section 232 tariffs, including steel, automotive, and aluminum. But let's be clear, there is no industry more directly impacted by trade action than the forest products industry. And this isn't a new battle. It's been around now in its 5th iteration for 10 years currently. Canadian lumber producers have $10 billion on deposit in the U.S. Tied up as a result of this illegal trade dispute. And that's money that could be fueling investments and innovation in Canadian mills and enhancing our capacity to grow the North American market. The fact of the matter is the current duties stand at a staggering 35%, which is the highest we've ever seen, and we're expecting the results of a Section 232 national security investigation, which could add additional tariffs to the 35% on lumber, and depending on the scope, could add tariffs to products like pulp, paper, and engineered wood products, which are currently not impacted. Why is this happening? It's simple. The U.S. is targeting us and our industry because they cannot compete with us. Ontario has a competitive advantage in making superior forest products. The competitive edge is reflected in massive private sector investments flooding into Ontario's forest product sector. $7.6 billion in capital and repair expenditures between 2012 and 2022. Importantly, many of these investments come from American and Western Canadian companies. For instance, Georgia Pacific is making a very bold move in investing $200 million into their Englehart OSB facility. The company has said that that is their flagship mill, and it's right here in Ontario. Ben Holcomb & Son is advancing a $50 million cogeneration project in Golden Lake. Element 5, many of us were just in St. Thomas in southwestern Ontario celebrating a $100 million investment in a state-of-the-art mass timber production line. While we need a settlement to this dispute, and we continue to call on Prime Minister Mark Carney and Minister LeBlanc to make lumber a top priority, and we have assurances that they are, our industry is looking to new markets and to innovate. But the best customer we have is ourselves. Ontario has a home building target of 1.5 million homes by 2031. We have an advanced wood construction plan that's been passed by Minister Harris and Minister Holland. And we can be supplying the materials to materialize on those targets using Ontario resources, sustainable, renewable, low carbon natural resources, and world-class assets like the one we're standing in front of today. Bringing this material to the marketplace requires transportation infrastructure, and today's announcement will make that happen. The Forest Access Roads Funding Program has been an incredibly successful public-private partnership, probably the best example I can think of here in Ontario, providing safe and reliable transportation that benefits recreationists, hunters, anglers, trappers, utilities, the list goes on. This infrastructure is essential for connecting Ontario's abundant forest resources to the home building needs across the province. And based on our analysis, for every public dollar contributed to the program, the industry contributes 3. The robust set of measures announced today, on top of all the other incredible accomplishments made possible by this government, clearly demonstrates the unwavering commitment by Premier Ford, Minister Harris, and Associate Minister Holland, and the entire Ontario government to safeguard and protect Ontario's forest products sector. I and the OFIA stand firmly behind our ministers, and we thank them, and our members are eager to drive continued economic growth across the province. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, I am Jim Vesna. I'm the mayor of the Township of O'Connor. I also am on the board of directors of NOMA, and that is who I'm here on behalf today. So on behalf of NOMA, I would like to greet and welcome Minister Harris to Northwestern Ontario. And NOMA represents 37 municipalities in Northwestern Ontario. We have been pushing for a long time to help the forest industry. As we all know, the forest industry is a major driver of our economy, second maybe only to mining. And that's kind of a toss-up because they are so interconnected. So, and I on behalf of NOMA really appreciate the investment that Minister Harris has made. And I would also like to acknowledge the work that Associate Minister Holland has done on behalf of all the communities in Northwestern Ontario for working to get our issues, especially the forest issue, to the forefront. And lastly, before I close out, I would also like to offer my regrets to Minister Harris that President Duma could not be here to say those himself personally.
Thank you. So thank you all for today. Incredibly amazing. We'll open it up to questions. You get one question, one follow-up. There should be a microphone behind you there, and we can go ahead and get started. Emily can direct you.
So members of the media just want to line up over here. If you have a question, just state your name and your outlet before you begin.
I'm going to answer them all. Cool. No problem. I got the perfect answer to that. I have no clue.
Justin Hardy with TBT News. My question is if there's going to be any particular focus on smaller operations which are most at threat from these tariffs from the south.
So yes, thank you for the question. So the reason the investments were made specifically into these two programs, in particular with the roads program, it will benefit all segments of the sector, whether they're large or small operations. It was the best way to be able to provide that funding, as you've indicated, to the smaller operators as well. So this is something that has been communicated to us throughout the summer while we've been out on tour, and Ian has really advocated and told us, made sure we knew the importance of the roads program funding to the sector generally. So.
And as a follow-up, how much work has been put into finding other sources outside of the U.S. for trade?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. So we're looking at a number of initiatives for increasing the use of Ontario wood products, is incentivizing the use of the wood products. It includes finding new markets, but it's also incentivizing that use of Ontario wood here in Ontario. And we're achieving that through programs like our Advanced Wood Construction Action Plan, which is finding new innovative ways to put Ontario wood to work to build our homes, our businesses, and our communities across Ontario. So the sector is telling us that a small percentage increase in domestic use of Ontario wood will make a significant difference to their operations. We're taking all of that information and all of that input into consideration as we develop our plans moving forward.
Good morning, Sandy Krasowski with the Chronicle Journal newspaper. My question is, how will this announcement, this investment impact Kappa's Casing Paper, for example, who is on a very tight deadline and facing closure in a week and a half?
Yeah, so as I indicated, the roads program in particular benefits all companies within the sector. Specifically to Cap Paper, we have been working with them for well over a year now, making significant investments into their operations to help them as they move forward to find new ways to improve the efficiencies of their business, find those new markets and those new products. We will continue to work with them moving forward, and we've also set up a working table that includes industry, the federal government, and the Ontario government, because as I said in my remarks, we can't do it alone. We really need the federal government to get involved into supporting companies such as Cat Paper. We've done our work, we've done our job, and now we need that participation from the federal government. So.
And follow-up question, will this announcement in any way impact Terrace Bay? Is there any hope for the Terrace Bay mill at all?
So yeah, with regards to Terrace Bay, we continue to work with Terrace Bay. Again, it is a company that we've made significant investments in to help them. We, we warm idled the mill throughout the winter as we looked at potential new opportunities for restart of that mill. We continue to have those conversations and engage with the company moving forward. So.
Sam Goldstein with Acadia Broadcasting. There was some discussion about foreign investment coming into Ontario from the United States into the forestry industry. Is there any concern about that slowing down as these tariffs are prolonged?
Oh, thanks very much. And I think we really want to focus on what Premier Ford has done over the last 7 years, and we have seen billions, tens of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars of investment come in here to the province, not just from south of the border in the United States, but around the world. We have Minister Fideli currently leading trade missions in Malaysia as we speak. So we do obviously welcome investment from the United States, and it is obviously a key part of what we do here in the province of Ontario, but make no mistake, we are out pounding the pavement every day looking at other options around the world to build trade relationships with partners as we move forward with some of the uncertainty that we've seen. Obviously, this industry has been impacted, as Minister Holland and as Ian said, probably the heaviest when it comes to tariffs and duties. And we want to make sure that investment that is coming in here to the province is going to modernize, innovate, and provide good jobs for the people of Ontario for many years to come.
I'm Clint Fleury with TB Newswatch. My question is, you've talked that you had discussions with the federal government. They're coming to the table. How are those talks coming? Are they currently ongoing, or just kind of backroom talk?
Yeah, I think that since we saw the announcement, $1.2 billion to support the forestry industry about a month ago now, we had conversations that day starting as to what that was going to look like. I'll be honest, it's taken the federal government a little time to, I think, formalize where they want to be able to make those investments. And I think when you look at the industry here in Ontario, we're poised to receive a good chunk of that. We obviously have a very, very thriving industry here supporting 128,000 jobs across the province. We're working literally day in and day out. We have people on the phones right now discussing what's going to happen with some of these programs and how we can see them roll out across the province. So it's definitely something that we're really, really pushing the federal government hard on, because we've been doing it far too long on our own here, and it's time that we had some help. And it sounds like that's going to wrap it up. Very good. Thank you, everyone.